Good afternoon. I'm so glad to be able to come before you with an update on our support group sessions. We had our February one on the 17th, and it was a great session. At the 2 o'clock session, we had Valerie Folks and Melissa Eckley of the Chesterfield County Department of Mental Health. And thank God for that collaboration with them, and also how they're working with me real good. And with the coalition, we're getting people from the coalition to be able to speak, and we're grateful of that. In the 2 o'clock session, they talked about adverse childhood experiences, ACE. That's what it's called, ACE. And it says the early experiences of a child, the early experiences shape the brain of that child. So it's important that we raise our children, number one, in the avenue that God would have us to raise them in a wholesome family. I personally have dealt with that as a child, some adverse situation that really, and I understand this, that really shaped the rest of my life. And thank God I'm delivered for the mental health challenges, but it really was a challenge to me. And also was stated how the male and the females deal with stress differently. Now, there is no perfect home, but as much as possible, we need to be able to have our homes as a safe haven for our children. Also, they were stated about the like a study they did, and it says here that 27% of these ACE, the children dealing with their childhood experiences, end up with substance abuse. Like their parents' separation is 23%, mental illness 13%, criminal behavior 67%. And so not only do these things affect us, it affects us mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all along. That's why those early formative years have to be good for a child, because what happens, as I always say, as an adult, if we haven't overcome our childhood issues, and then as adults, they become bigger. So those formative years they're very, very important that we spend the time with our children and make sure we're shaping them all the way around, because it only gets worse if they are not addressed. It doesn't get easier or better. It becomes worse. Again, dealing with my own challenges, I thank God now I'm delivered, but those were some very, very difficult years because I didn't understand it. My parents didn't understand it. Thank God I made it through, and they did the best that they could. That's why I'm really, really so engrossed, it's not the right word, but pushing forward that the parents in the home, as much as possible, even if the a parent is separated from the child, still come together to the best for the child to help shape that mental capacity, so when they get older, they won't have these challenges. So that was our 2 o'clock time about the adverse childhood experiences. And that's why sometimes adults, you wonder why they're into drugs, why they are very promiscuous, why they're doing this and that, because those formative years were shaping negatively. Then our 6 o'clock session is a young lady named Jill Bates Jones, who I saw grow up and becoming a mighty woman of God, but also having her own business. And she talked about stress, trauma, and well-being. The question is, and she had put, what does it look like? What does trauma look like? What does stress look like? A person can become very irritable, dealing with alcohol, they're missing work, and they could be overwhelmed. And so some of the things we can do is ask for help, have a support system, welcome feedback. Trauma is something else. It's really comes in many forms. It could have been an accident. It could have been some mental challenges born with, inherited. It could be situations, adverse situation that sent a person to trauma, like a divorce, death of a child, so many different things. What does it look like? Of course, we know that there's good stress and bad stress. Good stress kind of make us push forward. We're under the gun to get the job done. But on the flip side, stress will hold us back, put us in a morbid state. Just can't go on, can't get out of bed, can't go on with life. That's the best, the worst, that's the worst form or the bad form of stress. And also, what can stress cause? It can cause financial ruin, homelessness, emotional pain, thoughts to hurt oneself, even lack of medical assistance or services can put someone in great stress. And some emotional responses to adverse situations, like physical, emotional, it affects the brains. It has long-term effects. People are sad, jumpy, can't sleep at night, what we call nightmares. And so how do we deal with it? We have to, again, as much as possible, stay away from those challenges that causes stress. We can't always do that, but then do self-care, find a support group, seek professional, spiritual assistance. There's nothing wrong to go and see a professional concerning your mental health, because God is just as He's just as concerned with our mental health as with the other parts of our lives. So the February session was really, really good, and I'm thankful for it. But also, we're coming up this Thursday for our March session, and we're dealing with, of course, the personal journeys of two young people, of what they went through dealing with mental health issues, and now they're reaching out to helping others. Some of these people on the list coming up this year are professionals like we've had in the past. Others with their spiritual background in the churches. Others just have dealt with it, or a family member has dealt with someone with mental health issues. So I'm saying and putting this out there, if you would like to share your testimony where you have gone through it, and or someone in your circle has gone through it, please reach out for us. So we're looking for this Thursday to be a great one. And so please contact us, and we would love to hear from you. So have a great day, and we'll see you next time.